life of Candace Owens, it works like this. I wake up, I stretch, I have a cup of coffee, and then I am served with a lawsuit.
The French president's wife, or should I say husband, allegedly of course, is suing mother of four and number one enemy of PDFers worldwide conservative commentator Candace Owens for defamation, I think.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
Welcome and salutations to the patriarchs and the patriarchists, and thank you for holding the line against the opponents of masculinities and manhood. Do not allow the opponent to shame, insult, kill, or their need to be right to get you off your square. Welcome back to I Love the Patriarchy. I am the patriarch and we are going to have so much fun with this. For the record, I am not a lawyer, neither a resident of America or France where the persons involved in this lawsuit reside. I am a Kenyan millennial with an internet tree and too much time on his hands. I am not even qualified to give any legal opinion on the matter except to say that Mr. or Miss Brigitte really fucked up because now more than ever the spotlight is on the French couple and the allegations that she is a former he with the opportunity to look like anyone he chose. Was this model out of stock? Look, even this model looks like an improvement to that.
Jesus Christ.
And that is saying a lot. Back to my point. This story is gaining even more traction as exposed in the Becoming Brigitte series by Miss Owens, which is a documentary inspired by a book by the same title published by a French investigative journalist who goes by the name, the one you can see on the screen. Come on, you expect my Kikuyu tongue to pronounce that? With utmost respect to my ancestors and to avoid injuring my tongue, we shall call the author Mr. X. Interesting enough, Mr. X, who published the original work, is not being sued. Very interesting indeed. If you have not watched the series, hop over to Miss Owens' YouTube page and indulge in this riveting tale of intrigue, power, incestuous, pedophilic and sadistic evil people who are the President of France and his first gentleman. Allegedly, of course. I was planning to follow the trial and maybe publish 1 or 2 videos for my 300 plus Kenyan audience. But after watching commentary on the suit from notable American commentators who I follow and subscribe to, namely Anton Daniels, Nate the Lawyer, Michael Noens, and Sabrina Salvati, who gave their opinions, and from it you could tell that maybe the most they know about the issue is from at worst what has been put out by the mainstream media, and at best from video shots on the matter. Even people in their comment section were calling out their audacity. If you were to comment on something as newsworthy as the president of a first world country, France, African countries are fed up with the French and have been kicking them out of their nations of late.
What is the relationship between that failed coup against Ibrahim Traore and today's expulsion of the French defense personnel?
What was I saying? Oh yes, the president of France and his spouse are suing a private citizen of the United States of Trump. Talking of DJT, apparently he called Miss Owens to tell her that Macron requested he tell Miss Owens to keep off Brigitte's proverbial and allegedly literal balls.
Big balls.
I can totally see Macron doing that. Didn't we all see him being smacked on live TV by the man in the relationship? Macron then did the typical thing every battered man seems to do in the same situation. Pretend that it was just a joke.
Et juste plaisanter avec mon épouse comme on le fait assez souvent. On fait dire à une vidéo beaucoup de bêtises. Sur ces 3 vidéos, j'ai ramassé un Kleenex, serré la main à quelqu'un et juste plaisanter avec mon épouse comme on le fait assez souvent. Moi, ça fait 3 semaines. Si vous faites l'agenda international du président de la République française, de Kiev à Tirana jusqu'à Hanoï, il y a des gens qui ont regardé des vidéos et qui pensent que j'ai partagé un sac de cocaïne, que j'ai fait un mano à mano avec un président turc et que là maintenant je suis en train d'avoir une scène de ménage avec ma femme. Rien de tout ça n'est vrai, pourtant ces 3 vidéos sont vraies. Donc il faut que tout le monde se calme et surtout s'intéresse.
I can see why he will be scared of Miss Owens and would rather send the masculine grab them by the pussy Trump. As I conclude, I believe that there are certain things that a man or woman cannot escape. Just observe the studs. No matter how masculine they present, the woman in them escapes sometime. Observe also the men who think they are women. If you make them angry enough, the base comes out real quick.
Discuss the genetics right now.
Well, no,
what
no.
are your genetics?
So I'd stay away from the genetics and back to the brain scans.
You cut that out now, or you'll go home in an ambulance.
If you are too lazy to go searching for the series, I will post the link to the first episode in the description and put it in the comment section. Anyways, as we await the juiciest court case after Johnny Depp vs Amber Heard, here is a compilation from the Becoming Brigitte series by Candace Owens to whet your appetite and give you the motivation to go and watch the entire series on Miss Owens' YouTube page.
Now it's time for you to wake up, okay? That is what I demand. It is time for you to wake up. So we will start from the top here with a photo of Brigitte Macron. Real name, Jean-Michel Trogneux, okay? Look at this, okay? That person that you are looking at on the right is not a woman. That's what Piers Morgan tweeted. I tweeted right back at him. I said, so like, remember when I was telling you a couple of weeks ago that France's first lady was a dude in a bad wig? Yeah. Don't pretend to be appalled. Don't pretend that it's absurd. You are lying to the public. So here is a photo, by the way. Just over the years, Jean-Michel Trogneux, as he became Brigitte, as I said, the evidence for this is overwhelming. There is no evidence that Brigitte Macron lived for the first 30 years of his life. There's none, actually. It's actually stunning that in the absence of evidence, the entire mainstream media is still convincing part of the public that you do not have a trans person as the First Lady of France. As we unpack the story of Brigitte and Emmanuel, you are going to notice some strange recurring themes. That scandals related to pedophilia and transgenderism, incest, and sexual perversion just keep accidentally following them wherever they go. Parking aside the fact that even if you believed that Brigitte Macron was a woman, and I'm telling you she isn't, and you won't believe that by the time that we're done with this series, you would have to accept that her love story with Emmanuel Macron is completely unpalatable, okay? It begins when she was a 39-year-old drama teacher at La Providence School, and she saw a 14-year-old boy, Emmanuel Macron, perform in a play, and that was it. That just completely swept her off her feet. Okay, apparently a love story for the ages. By the way, that was one of many first red flags for me. A 14-year-old boy and a 39-year-old woman. And so as the press was selling this, they tried to get readers to imagine that Brigitte was just irresistibly sexy and hot, right? Like she was this sort of 1980s pinup doll, just unbelievably like a Claudia Schiffer type. This was the image they were trying to paint in their head. Like she's older now, but ooh, if you had seen her when Emmanuel Macron saw her, she was like a pinup, and she was wearing short skirts. They talked about how she used to wear skirts and how all the boys were just drooling over her. All of these boys who happened to be going through puberty at the school, fantasizing about this hot Claudia Schiffer type teacher. And so what does a PR person do when they feel burned? They drop a bomb in the press. And it looks like she indeed dropped a bomb, an explosion in the press about Brigitte Macron in the magazine called Closer, okay? Brigitte had somehow been spotted at the entrance to the American hospital in Paris, reportedly for undergoing cosmetic surgery under general anesthesia. You see, while Closer had not named the surgeon, they didn't at all name the surgeon who worked on Brigitte, they did this sort of petty thing where they left a massive, undeniable clue as to who the surgeon was. In the magazine, they described the surgeon as a, quote, eminent and media-savvy plastic surgeon who would keenly quote Victor Hugo, his favorite expression, woman's flesh, ideal clay. Because in France, Patrick Buey is known most eminently for one thing: feminization surgery. He is the king of transgendered feminization surgery. Regarding that second person that she says died, the niece that allegedly died a year later, so this would be back-to-back big deaths in the family, he was just going, I don't see that anywhere. And he thought that was strange because there had been so much written about Brigitte's nieces, and yet there was no mention of one who had died anywhere. Anyways, Sylvie Baumel's main focus on this second book was really trying to learn more about Brigitte's first husband, Andre Louis Ozier, right? That's the banker that she had married when she was 21 years old, the guy who had his wife rather dramatically stolen from him by a teenager, virtuoso Mozart type guy. I mean, that's gotta hurt. and no one could get in touch with him. Remember, we spoke about Virginie Lindhart, that documentary filmmaker, who similarly said this was like a black hole. She referred to him as the Élysée Palace's best kept secret. No one could get through. So there was also a magazine, Capital magazine, who summed it up in 2017 with this general impression, referring to Andre Louis, the first husband, as, quote, a real ghost. Not a single photograph of him on the web, not a single image in the thick press agency catalogs. Biographies barely mention his career as a banker. What ever happened to Brigitte Macron's ex-husband? Is Brigitte Macron the same person pictured in the Ozier wedding photo? No response. And what's more interesting is that it's not the first time that she refused to answer that basic question. She also refused to provide a basic answer to that question in a court case, a defamation case against the journalist Natasha Ray. You've been hearing about this. She won in defamation case. Well, now I'm going to tell you the details here of how Natasha Ray lost a defamation case. Not to her claim that Brigitte Macron was a man or lived as a man before transitioning, if you will, to Brigitte Macron, but rather by getting details wrong, okay?
Subscribe to the channel if not